Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another episode of The Math Behind the Modules. All right, chapter 11.2 is electronic expenses. So I thought it'd be interesting to bring in this quote from the book. Jimmy Carter, former US president, in 2002 stated, globalization as defined by rich people like us is a very nice thing. You're talking about the internet. You're talking about cell phones. You're talking about computers. This doesn't affect 2/3 of the people of the world. Okay, that was 2002. So only 20 years ago, only 1/3 of the population, and usually rich people like Jimmy, had these things. But it seems now, I would probably say 90% of the population worldwide have these things. Maybe I'm a little high, but way more than 1/3. Okay, so let's start talking about electronic expenses. So the objective for this lesson is to compute the cost of cell phone calls, text messaging, internet service, and cable television. Compare different plans for these services, set up, graph, and interpret an average cost function. Those are the objectives of this lesson. So the only vocabulary word in this chapter section is electronic utilities. And electronic utilities include the images pictured here: cell phones, Wi-Fi, cable, internet coming from fiber optics, which is down here, or possibly satellite. So those are electronic utilities. Okay, so let's get rid of that and let's jump right into example 1. Janice's cell phone plan includes 30 gigs of data and unlimited talk and text. The service costs her $90 per billing period. For the past year, in every other month, okay, so let's highlight some stuff here before I go any further. $90 per billing period is the average. For the past year, in every other month, she uses 3.2 gig. That's more than 3. And each extra gigabytes of data or part thereof costs $15. So let's stop right there. 3 gigs is $90 per billing period. That's included. 0.2 is a part thereof. 1 more gig, working towards 4 gigs. So 0.2, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9 are all part of the next gig, and it will cost her $15 and all the way up. And then when she gets to 4 gig, 4.1 gig, then it'd be 15 times 2 because it is a whole gig more. And then we're on to the second gig of data and so on. Okay, so this 0.2 is going to be the same price as if it were 3.9 gigs of data, because every part thereof costs $15 extra. So if the extra fees and taxes are approximately $29, okay, so there's always fees and taxes in your bill. And on average, those are $29 per billing cycle. It's asking what her monthly fees for her cell phone data are. Okay, so if it's on the months that she is not going over her 3 gigs, it is going to be $90 plus that extra fee. Okay, so to find them, so if it's 3 gigs or under, 3 GB or under, okay, this is one scenario, then it's going to cost $90 plus her $29 billing cycle, which equals $119. Okay, so on those months she did not go over 3 gig, it is going to cost her $119. Okay, if we are greater than 3 gigabyte, but less than or equal to 4, or anyway, each additional, so let me put that, greater than 3 gig, but less than or equal to 4. Let's make that a compound inequality. Okay, so if her data, let's call it X, is greater than 3 gig, but less than or equal to 4, then it's going to be 90 plus the 29 plus $15 for a partial gig. Okay, so that would be 90 plus 29, which we already know is 119, plus another 15, which is a $134. Okay, so $134 to find the monthly cost of up to 4 gig. Okay, and it says that she uses 3.2 every other month and 3 gig every other month as well. So now to solve this problem, to find out what it costs her annually, it's $119 times 6 months plus $134 times 6 months. So 9 times 6, 54, carry the 5, 6, and 5 is 11, carry the 1, 6, and 1, $714 for 6 months of not going over, plus 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2, 18 and 2 is 20, carry the 2, 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So it's going to be 804 for those 6 months where they were charging her the extra 15, totaling 134 each month. So then when we calculate the total of these two, we're going to get 8, 1, and 7. 8 and 7 is 15. So her annual cost to have this self-service is $1,518. It says, what are her average monthly fees? So now you take that 1,518 and divide it by 12. And that is going to give you $126.50. That was her average fee. Another way we could have done it, since it's every other month, all we had to do is take this 119 plus 134 and divide it by 2. Okay, so there is example 1. Okay, now it's the check your understanding, and it says Ray-Jean's cell phone plan has a monthly fee of $80. Okay, let me get my highlighter. Monthly fee of $80, which includes unlimited free text messages and phone calls and 4 gigs of data. Each extra gigabyte of data costs $11. Find the cost of a month in which Ray-Jean uses 15.1 gigabyte. Okay. All right, so this one, if I just set up an algebraic expression, it's $80 plus $11 times each additional gig, or the part thereof, which would be X. So if it were 4 gigabytes of data, it's not going over. So there's no $11 extra charge. So it's just $80. So this is when X is greater than, let's see, actually X, where X equals, we need to represent X. So let X equal number of gigs greater than, just use a greater than symbol here. Number of gigabytes greater than 4. Okay, number of gigabytes greater than 4. That is what we're going to let X equal. So in this case, 80 plus 11X, well, we have 5.1. So 4.1 would be a partial gig over, so that's 1. And then going up to 5.1, we're into our second gig greater than 4. So that is going to be $80 plus 11 times 2, which would be $80 plus $22, which is $102. And that is the answer to this problem. All right, example 2. Jake's cell phone plan includes a 4 gigabytes of data usage. On the 19th day of his billing period, he received a message from his service provider that has already used 75% of his data allowance for the billing period. So he got a warning. At this rate, will Jake use more than the 4 gigs of data for the month? So what you need to do is determine how much of the month has gone by where he's used 75% of his data. So we want to take 19 days, and let's assume that a billing cycle is 30 days. Most months are 30 days long. Some are 31, some are 28, but let's go with 30. So if I take 19 divided by 30, I will find a percentage. So 19 divided by 30 is 63%. And let's use an approximation, it's a third, approximately 63%. So that's 63% of the month. 63% of the month has gone by. What am I doing? So we know 63% of the month has gone by. He's used 75% of the data in 63% of the month. So if this number was less than this, we'd be okay. But now that this is over, if he continues using that amount of data regularly, he will go over. Okay, so at this rate, he will use more than 4 gigs of data for the month. All right, so it's just simple calculation of percentages. And then I'll check your understanding. It says Miranda got a message that she has used 75% of her data by the 25th day of the 31-day billing period. At this rate, will she be under or over? So simply we just take that 25 over 31, number of days out of the billing cycle to see what percent of the month has gone by. 25 divided by 31 is 80.6 or approximately, which is approximately 81% of the month. Okay, 81% of the month, and 81% is greater than the 75% usage. So if your month has a greater percentage gone by than the amount you've used, you're in good shape. You're going to get to the end 100% of the month before you use 100% of the allowable data. Okay, so at this rate, I would say she will be under her 3 gig limit. Okay. Okay, example 3. Max is traveling abroad and has purchased a one-time use 30-day international cell phone plan. Okay, so he's purchased a cell phone plan, 30-day international. There is a one-time fee of $30, and it includes 120 megs of data usage. Each extra megabyte or part thereof's data costs 25 cents. Express the charge for this plan as a piecewise function. Okay, so the first thing is, let's just call it C of X. Okay, function notation equals, and then we do our big bracket here. So what could happen here? Well, up to and including 100 megs. So if X is less than or equal to 120, where X is our number of megs, it is going to just simply be $30. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to write here. I'm going to write 30. It's a constant function of $30 if X is less than or equal to 120 megabytes. Okay, so there's our first step. The other thing that could happen is we could say if X is greater than 120 and X is an integer. Okay, meaning he's going to use an entire meg. He's going to be charged 25 cents. So in order to calculate that, we're going to take the initial cost, $30 plus 25 cents times anything over 120. So when X minus 120. So if X was 121, for instance, 121 minus 120 is 1. It'd be 30 plus 25 cents times that 1 over 120. And that's where this X minus 120 comes from. Okay, so that's what we're going to put here. 30 plus 0.25 times, I didn't leave enough room with my if statement. So let's move all this over. This back over here. So 30 if X is less than or equal to $120. 30 plus 0.25 times X minus 120 if X is greater than 120 and X is an integer. But then we could have partial gigs, which are megabytes. And if that's the case, then we're going to add a megabyte after we get beyond that. So it's going to be 30 plus 0.25 cents times, there's going to be two components in this. We're going to put the bracket inside as our X minus 120. So that's our megabyte over. And then we're going to have a +1 here, which would be a gig if we go really big. Okay. So 1 gig would be 25 cents. So 1 megabyte is 25 cents. I mean, so if we do a full megabyte, it'd be this 1 plus, and these are partial. These are parts of a megabyte. But then once we go over 1, we could continue with this X being 120 megs, but we wouldn't usually say 1,000 some megabytes, because 1,000 megs is a gig, and that's why we're putting this 1 after. So then it's going to be if X is greater than 120 and X is not an integer. So what would it be if it's not an integer? It'd be rational. Okay, so there you go. Now let's check your understanding. Okay, so there's our piecewise function. Ariel has purchased a one-time use 30-day international cell phone plan for use during a summer trip. There's a one-time fee of $40 and it includes 200 megs of data. Each extra megabyte of or part thereof costs 30 cents. Find the cost of the plan if she uses 467 megabytes of data during the trip. So we're going to use our piecewise function here. And so she used 467 megs. So what we have to do here is we're going to use the middle one here because she hasn't used more than a gig. And so it's 467 megabytes of data. So we're going to say, we're going to take the 30. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 40 in this one. We're going to take the $40 plus, and it's an extra 30 cents. So this is going to be 0.30 times X minus 200. Okay, anything over 200 megs. So 40 plus 0.30 times X minus 200 is going to equal our C of X. And in this case, our X is 467 megs. So the cost of 467 megs equals $40 plus 30 cents times that 467 minus 200. So C of 467 equals 40 plus 30 cents times 267. And I'm just simplifying here, very simple algebra. 40 plus, now I'm going to take 30 cents times this, so 7 times 3 is 21, carry the 2, 6 times 3 is 18, plus 2 is 20, carry the 2, 6 plus 2 is 8. 2 decimal places is going to cost $8.01. So it's going to be C of 467 is going to equal $48.01. Okay. Okay, after I checked that, I was thinking, that doesn't seem quite right. And what I had done is I put the decimal place in the wrong location. So let me just fix that. 30 cents times 267, that's only one decimal place. It should be here, not there. So it's $80.10. Okay, so sorry about that. So now when I add $80.40, it's $120.10. Okay, so it's $120.10 for 467 megabytes of data. All right, example 4, the Telcel prepaid plan has a basic charge per month, which includes a certain number of free minutes. There is a charge for each additional minute. The piecewise function below gives the price f of x of an x minute phone call. Fractions of a minute are charged as if They were a full minute. Okay, so let me get my highlighter out here. And so it says, describe the cost of the cell, of the tell cell prepaid plan by interpreting the piecewise function. Okay, so to interpret the piecewise function, what they're saying is, notice that for each, regardless of what happens, there is a $40 fee. So that's part one. Okay, we know that they're charging $40 basic charge per month. So let's write that. Okay, there is a basic charge of $40 per month. Okay, that's what that tells us. So let me go back to my highlighter and see what else we find. And notice that it says when X is less than 750 or equal, when X is greater than 750 and X is an integer, when X is greater than 750 and X is not an integer. So that tells us that there is a fee involved depending on so much usage, and the amount that we multiply the unknown by is the fee. So I can now wrap this up and we're finished with the question by saying for each additional 35 cents per minute. Okay, so there's a charge of $0.35 per minute for any value over this 750. Okay, so that's basically all that's going on here. $40 basic fee, 35 cents for every minute over this amount here. Now it says find the monthly cost for someone who had the plan in example 4 and used 1,234 minutes last month. Okay, so we're going to use the second one right here because it's greater than 750 and it is an integer. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not 0.5. Okay, it's not a half a minute. So it's 1,234 minutes. 1,234 is an integer, so I will use that middle one. So I will write, first I'll write the function as f of x, and it equals 40 plus 0.35 times x minus 750. I'm looking for f of 1,234. That is our x. So f of 1,234 is going to equal 40 plus 35 cents times 1,234 minus 750. So f of 1,234 equals, and I just show all my work here step by step, and 1,234 minus 750, just so I don't make mistakes. 1,234 minus 750 is 484. Okay, so then f of 1,234 equals 40 plus this amount times 0.35 is $169.40. Okay, and so f of 1,234 equals 169 plus 40, which is $209.40. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that if you use the phone for 1,234 minutes, it would cost $209.40. Okay, example 5. We're talking about a woman. What's her name? Pauline. Pauline has a company that she uses right now for her electronic services. Optizone, a cable TV internet phone provider. I can see the commercial now. Advertises a flat fee of $119 per month for all 3 services for new customers for the first year. The company estimates that this will increase 10% for the second year. Pauline normally pays $69 for her monthly home phone service, $45 for internet, and $60 for cable. If Pauline's usage remains the same, how much would she save per month in the second year if she decided to go with this company? So what you would do is we want to add up what she uses. So her usage is $69 for phone, plus $45 for internet, plus $60 for cable TV. If I add all of that up, it comes out to be $174. She is spending $174 on these 3 services separately at the moment. And now Optizone is offering a flat fee of $119 for the first year. So it's not asking this, but I can calculate that right now. If she got this Optizone, she would save, oops, not 190, 119. She would save in the first year, because 119 is less than 174, obviously, she'd save $55 her first year. Okay. But then it says, Optizone says that the price is going to increase by 10%. So you take the $119 times 10%, which is 0.1, and that'd be $11.90. And you're going to add that to the 119. So what you're going to do is take that and you're going to add 119 to it, and that is going to be $130.90. Okay, so that's the second year of service. So then we're going to take this 174 minus $130.90 next year, the second year, and see how much she will make. So I'm going to have to borrow here, and this is going to be a 9, and this is going to be a 10. Actually, I don't need to go that far. Leave that 0 and make this 10. So 0 minus 0 is 0, 10 minus 9 is 1, 3 minus 0 is 3, 7 minus 3 is 4. And the answer to this problem is she will save $43.10 in the second year. Okay, that's what it was asking. How much will she save per month in the second year? First year, she saved $55. Second year, she saved $43.10. She should definitely go with Optizone. Now check your understanding. How much would Pauline save if the second year increase were 25% instead of 10%? So now all we're going to take is that 119, and we're going to multiply it by 0.25. Okay, and that is going to equal, let's just do it quickly. It's divided by 4 as well. 119 divided by 4, that's a quarter, right? 25%. It's going to go up $29.75 instead. $29.75 instead of $11.90. So then we're going to add that to the 119. So $29.75 plus 119 is $148.75. And she's spending $174 right now. So I need to subtract these to answer this question. And we're going to have to borrow from the dollar to get 100 pennies. 5, 9 minus 7 is 2, 7 minus 1, 13 minus 8 is 5, 6, 4. She will save $25.25, even if their price goes up 25% in the second year. She's getting hosed by buying these services individually. You always should look for package deals. Okay. Okay, so in this problem, example 6, Dave is considering 2 different ways to buy a cell phone and the service plan that goes with it. You can buy the phone through the carrier at a discounted price, and they subsidize the difference between the discounted and regular price of the phone. You also need to purchase a service plan through them, or you purchase the phone on your own and then shop around for a provider whose plan suits your needs. Dave found the following information on both types of plans for the latest version of a smartphone he wishes to purchase. We will not name names. All right, so highlight. Let's see. Subsidized by the service provider, $199 for the phone plus $90 per month for unlimited talk and text and 2 gigs of data. The other option would be to pay outright for the phone, $650 plus $50 a month for unlimited talk and text. Okay, so he's dropping the cost per month by $40, but he paid a lot more for the phone up front. So it says, note that tax on the phone is irrelevant, since in both ways you must pay tax on the full price of the phone. So how can Dave compare the two methods to determine which is a better deal over the life of the phone? Well, we could set up equations for each. So let's do that. So for the first one, S, subsidized, we'll use S for subsidized. We have a function called S of X, and that is going to equal $199 plus 90 per month, where X is number of months. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is going to be the unsubsidized. So let's call that U of X. So the unsubsidized is going to be $650 for the phone plus $50 per month. So there are our two equations. They'd both be linear. Okay, but we're not talking about monthly cost because the cost can change every month. We want to do an average, a cost averaging, which is what it said to do. How can Dave determine it? Where does it say it? Dave found the following information. How can Dave compare the two methods to determine which is a better deal over the life of the phone? So you want to find an average. So now I'm going to do an averaging. So I'm going to say average of S is going to equal, actually, let's just call it A of X. Because I don't want to use S now because it is still X. A of X is going to equal S of X divided by the number of months, and that gives you your average. If that makes sense to you, hopefully. And so therefore it would be 199 plus 90 times X divided by X. Okay, and let me get rid of the parentheses here. Just 90X. Okay, and for U of X, let's call it B. The cost averaging of B of X is going to equal U of X divided by the number of months X. So that's going to equal $650 plus 50X divided by X. Okay, so then we need to graph this thing, or we could set them equal and see where they meet, but graphing it shows you a better picture. So let's graph. Okay, so I've opened up Desmos and I'm going to use their free graphing utility. So I'm going to plug in my A of X, which is S of X divided by X, or it is going to be 199 plus 90X, all divided by, I guess I need an equal sign. Okay, and then let's see. I want this and functions. Actually, I could just do divided by X. There we go. So there's 199 plus 90X divided by X. And if I hit enter, hopefully it graphed it. It did not. How about we call it A of X. There we go. Now it worked. Okay, so here is our function. Obviously, we are not going to look at, so this is a rational function. We are not going to look at the negative side of this. Okay, so let's just disregard this. because we aren't going to go with negative months. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, so then we're going to do b of x, and that equals, and it was 650 plus x divided by, make sure this is all divided by x. Okay, again, ignore the negative. So in order to do that, how about I just slide this over so that we see the origin, and that is it. And then if we zoom in closer, we can actually see what's happening here. Okay, so here are our two functions. So right here, they meet at right around 5 months. They're both going to be $129.27. Okay, so that's an approximation. Let's see. Oh, I made a mistake. I forgot my 50. 650 plus 50x. That's more like it. Okay, so now they're crossing at 11.275. Okay, a quarter of the 11th month. And it's going to be $107.65. So in other words, if you keep the phone for less than this 11 months, the blue function costs more. But as long as you keep it for more than 11.275 months, buying the phone outright is the cheapest way to go. So if you are not going to keep the phone more than 11 months, the 199 plus 90x divided by x is cheaper. It's below the blue line until it gets here. They are equal at 11.275 months, $107.65. And then they change order, and the buying the phone outright is a lot cheaper in the long run. Okay, and that is the end of lesson or chapter 11.2. Have a good day. Okay, I forgot the check your understanding, so let's finish this now and then we'll say we're done. So now it says Quick X, Quicks, not Quick X, Quicks is a cell phone service provider. They're advertising a special offer on a new Android phone for $250 with unlimited talk, text, and data for $100 per month. Set up an average cost function. All right, so for starters, let's just call it Q of X since it is the company Quicks. Q of X equals, and it's going to be $250 for unlimited talk plus $100 per month. And if we're doing a cost average, you divide by the number of months. So there is our average cost function. Now it says, what's the average cost be in the 5th year of owning this phone? 5th year per month. So 5 years times 60. Oops, it's times 60. Yeah. 5 years times 12 months is 60 months. Okay, so we're going to plug 60 into this. So I want to know what Q of 60 is. So it's $250 plus 100 times 60 divided by 60. And that is going to equal $250 plus 6,000 divided by 60, which equals 6,250 divided by 60. Which equals, I'm going to cancel these zeros. 6 goes into 6 once, 6 goes into 2 0 times, 6 goes into 25 4 times, and with a remainder of 1, and 6 goes into 10 once with a remainder of 4, and 6 goes into 46 times with a remainder of 4. So it's 1 6 repeating. So I would say it is approximately $104.17 per month. Okay, now we're done chapter 11.2. Have a great day.